Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in with a very quick One Piece chapter 928, my impressions, my thoughts, and my ideas about what's going to be going on. Apologies for the delay on this one. My Thursday and my Friday ended up being very busy, and now I'm recording this Saturday night, I believe. Anyway, I think it's Saturday. Yeah. Anyway, this chapter. So the chapter is split into two parts, the Luffy segment and the, well, what's her name again? Komurasaki. There we go. Sorry, that's kind of a hard name to remember. Komu. I'll just call her Komu. Nope. I'm not gonna call her that. I'll just call her the lady. Anyway, yeah, we have those two segments. The Luffy stuff is just pretty much set up for the prison break, and then the lady stuff is just I guess. It's interesting. It's exposition and also a weird little thing at the end with Momo making comments. And so that's where a lot of the theory crafting is really going to be. It's going to be centered around this new lady. But on the Luffy side, one thing that I was very happy with was just I forget very easily how competent the samurai are. And when you see Raizo in there with Luffy and Luffy just having a nice conversation with him, there's like two things you take away from that. First, good on Raizo for being so competent. That's pretty cool. And second, that's also pretty rushed. Or not rushed, but it has a brisk pace. And why do we know it's a brisk pace? Because Raizo has already made contact with Luffy. We have effectively skipped a segment of content that in the old days Oda would have chased down. This was good though, because it just tells us that things are happening in between the chapters. And that's pretty good in the long run. It also gives the One Piece anime something to expand on when they come around to the adaptation, so that'll be fun to watch too when it comes around for the anime. Anyway, the things that we get from the Luffy stuff are really just, Luffy being kind, and also just a bit of an explanation about Kid. Kid ends up revealing that he didn't lose his arm fighting Big Mom, he lost it fighting Shanks. And that's pretty interesting because it tells you, okay, well, Kid clearly has a grudge because he wanted to go up against Shanks later. So that was interesting to find out. I wonder why Shanks gave Kid the same injury that Shanks has, right? I wonder if Kid mocked him. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, those are the big points that came out of that segment. And in the next segment, we find out the thing about the lady. Now she is a prostitute of Wano, and by the end of the chapter, we have Momo's talk about why he is only going to meet with his sister after everything's over. The way that's positioned, it implies that Momo's sister is this new lady that we've just been introduced to. But it honestly is too early to make any big assumptions. And one of the big things as well that's happening with this new character is that people are calling her a gold digger, because why not? A good portion of this chapter is dedicated to just showing us a flashback of how she swindled this guy out of money. And okay, yeah, that's pretty fair. The thing here is, honestly, it's kind of hard to tell whether or not she is legitimately a crooked person or if she's like a Robin type character. Because let's remember, Robin's done shitty things in her past. We know she was an assassin. We know she went around in all the criminal undergrounds. We know that was Robin's MO. Is it really that, let's say, outlandish to imagine this happening to this girl or to this lady? Like this being a similar character art for this lady? Other things that are important to note is that the person that had the flashback featured in this chapter, he went out of his way to say that he sold his family. Not only that, when he came back to the lady to buy her out, who did he run into there? Oh, he ran into someone that he refers to as Boss Kiyoshiro. And from the previous chapter, we know Kiyoshiro is more or less a Yakuza. So you have that first narrative of this lady just swindled someone out of their life savings, but then you have this secondary narrative kind of that's coming out there where it's this guy who most likely is affiliated with the Yakuza, given that he's calling Kiyoshiro his boss, and a guy who also just sold out his family. That's not great. It could be very possible that this wonderful lady is in a way trying to stick it back to, Orochi's forces. that she is actually trying to get back at him in her little way, and by causing this much chaos she can have her petty revenge on lower level people while also accruing money. And then the big theory is she's giving that money off to the poor people that she still cares about. It could be possible. Or she could just be a gold digger. Honestly, it's still too early to tell. She could be a great person. She could be a terrible person. We might never know. We're gonna know, but it's, you know, that's the big issue. I think the big clue here is gonna be figuring out how exactly she treats Otoko, the little girl that follows her around, you know, because that's like her job or whatever. I forget the term for what she was called in the previous chapter. But anyway, in the previous chapter, we saw that she's relatively kind to Otoko. So the big question is that kindness feigned, or does she legitimately have a soft spot for that girl? Now, mind you, that girl has a smiling problem, which might be indicative of some pretty harsh treatment and her having to always keep a smile on her face. And we don't know if that's because of Kumurasaki or if that's just the girl's gimmick. We have to wait to see. That's ultimately what it is. Now, one last thing that I want to point out is that this lady is walking on those giant, I don't know what the proper term for that shoe is, but you know, she's elevated. She's walking on these giant stilts. And when we switch over to Momo, we're over at the braided hat village, and we know that there is the Tengu there, and we know that he also he walks on those kind of stilts too. Mind you, I don't think to the degree that the new lady does, but it might be a bit of a reference over to that village. Anyway, the big point here is Oda's right now setting up a very beautiful woman to be a villain, but she may very well not be. She may be someone who's playing a long game to the best of her abilities, and honestly it's going to be one of those things that we have to wait to find out on. At this point though, the person that she scammed out of his money, as far as we are aware, he was not a reputable person. So that's something we can take comfort in. Anyway, those are pretty much the big topics for the chapter. I would love to know what you guys think down below. And till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.